Hey everybody, Jessie Q here, talking today a little bit about decision making again. This is not about those little everyday decisions that you have in your life, but about the bigger things that you really are trying to weigh and keep in alignment with your goals and your dreams and your values and your heart. So I have a tip that is really awesome. I read about it and I think it's very effective. It can be used in conjunction with some of my other tips that are in another video that I've done. But this has to do with the Decision Making Quadrant, and I will explain that in just a bit. So I have been a coach, a mentor, an accountability partner, both in the business and in people's personal lives for over 13 years. And decision making is a really big thing that people struggle with. So I'm making a series of videos about dealing with making decisions. And this is a great technique. What I'm about to talk about, the Decision Making Quadrant, is a great technique to apply in conjunction, maybe overlay on top of the other things that I've talked about, to just really clarify if you are making a decision that you feel good about, that you feel will be long lasting, and that you won't regret later. If you like us, give us a thumbs up. Also, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and comment below if you've ever heard of this technique or if you do something different to really help you make your decisions in life. So the Decision Making Quadrant is something that I've read coming from Michelle Dumas with Distinctive Career Services, LLC. And this is a really practical, very visual way of thinking about your decisions. I really like it. I'm a very visual person. And so this actually creates a quadrant. You actually draw out a square and make 4 boxes on a piece of paper. And it helps you think through 4 different questions that I'm going to share with you. Stay with me to the end so that you can see how all 4 of these questions really overlay on top of each other to help you know if the decision you are thinking about making is going to live long term for you and really be one that you don't regret. So the first thing you want to do is grab a piece of paper and a pen, and you want to just draw a big box on it and break that box into 4 sections. I've already got my first question written in my box, so I'll show you. I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so this box represents 4 different questions that you're going to overlay on top of your decision, and you'll understand what I mean in just a minute. Okay, so box number one up here says, what happens if X happens? What happens if this happens? What happens if this job happens? What happens if I buy this new car? What happens if I make this particular decision in my life? And you want to just write that question up in that first box and then write down all the things you can think about that come to mind as you answer that question. Question number 2, if you can see it, is what won't happen if X happens? What won't happen if I take this new job? What won't happen if I buy that new car? This is a really interesting one to consider. A lot of times we think about all the things that will happen if we make a particular decision. We don't think about the consequences of what won't happen as a result of that. Like, say you go out and you do buy that new car, but you're paying more money every single month for your car payment. Well, then what doesn't happen as a result of you spending that extra money on that car? Or what won't happen if you take that new job in a different state? What won't happen that you might have thought you want to see in your life? So considering what won't happen if X happens is your second question. Question number 3 in this box, what happens if X doesn't happen? So what happens if that new job doesn't come through? What happens if I don't buy that new car? What happens if X doesn't happen? Again, write the question, write down everything you can think of to answer that question. And the last question in your last box is what won't happen if X doesn't happen? So what won't happen if that new job doesn't happen? What won't happen if I don't buy that new car? So if you're considering a new job and you're thinking about moving out of state, what won't happen if that job doesn't happen? Will you not make the money that you want? Will you not have a learning opportunity that you want? I love the won't happen questions. I really do, because I think it makes us think about things in a little bit different light than we typically do. We tend to imagine what will happen. We always are thinking about what will happen. So really consider what won't happen. What won't happen if something happens, and what won't happen if something doesn't happen. I hope this is helpful. Again, I've just done a different video on how to make decisions and some key things to guide you. And if you've watched that video and you've used that, it's still a very helpful technique for making decisions that you will be close to your heart, will be more true to you. But when you take this decision making quadrant and you overlay it on top of any sort of decision you're making, I think it's going to give you a little bit more insight than you may have previously had when you think about the decision that you're trying to make and the long-term effects in your life. I really appreciate your watching. I hope you find this helpful. Decision making can be really tough. We make decisions all through our day, and lots of little decisions, but these bigger decisions that we feel could be life-changing are the ones that really sometimes get us stuck. And I really believe these tips and tricks are helpful for you seeking the right path that is good for you to lead your best life. I hope you have a great day. Thanks so much for watching. Please give us a thumbs up if you've liked it, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and I have included below a link, limited time offer for my free guide. It is Finding Your Purpose Now. The guide, I really believe, is going to be very helpful for you in identifying your values, your strengths, and setting you on a course to your greatest potential. And as you are making decisions in your life, it's really nice to have a written guideline. And it can obviously be a flexible and growing thing, but a written guideline to help you on a course for reaching your best life. Have a great day, everybody. I will see you next time.